to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Metrics, and Whisperer.
G'day guys, welcome to the Insight NRL Show. It's subscriber Q&A night. It is Tuesday night as always. We've got some really good questions this week. And Josh, I don't know about you, mate, but I opened the app once lockout hit and I had 17 players before I made a trade for this week in a best of 13 round. And it's kind of mucked my thinking up a little bit. Like I had 3 trades in mind. I'm like, I don't even really need to do them anymore. How are you approaching this week?
My trades are the most mid and vanilla trades I think I'm ever making if I go down the route that you and I were speaking about in terms of hooker about 45 seconds ago. But yeah, numbers for this week were never really the concern. I think for us, it was all about 16 and then evidently 19 as well. With Origin 2 in Perth, I would very much expect no one to be backing up, or anyone that's playing early in the week to be backing up. So trying to count them without numbers. But yeah, mate, it's not too bad. Not too bad. I had a stinker week last week. So for the first time all year, it's taken 15 weeks, but I am no longer first, which is a thing. I don't know how I feel about it. But mate, we're here to answer some absolutely ripping questions. I've sent a couple of them. Absolutely world-class questions this week. I've got a pimple patch on because I have a pimple the size of my SC rank, which is quite large. So trying to get that one down before tomorrow, mate. But yeah, let's rip in.
All right, let's do it. Yellow Duck kicks things off, and there's a lot of very similar questions. So we've banked 3 in a row on what we do with Iro and Tamale. Obviously, sadly, these guys go down with injury. I think Iro, we're still waiting on scan results, but that's anywhere between 4 to 12 weeks, depending on surgery or not. Tamale, was it dislocated kneecap? Looks nasty, so that's never fun. We've got Harry asking for centre wing or 2RF options for Iro. I'm assuming most people have Dylan Lucas either at 2RF or centre wing. So if you got him at 2RF, you can slide him down and bring in a 2RF this week. He's asking for Preston, and Ryan's asking who the Tamale replacements are. Thinking about Mulatalo as a pod play, or go with Marju or Holmes. So that it's wide open at centre wing this week. There's some trades to be made from some injuries. What are your initial thoughts? Who are the guys that stand out for you this week at centre wing?
I mean, I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say I really wish Blake Wilson knew how to play centre, because that would make life pretty much easy, putting Kiraz back on the wing, putting up 90 in pretty much all BP. But, mate, centre wing has been really, really good this year. Like, it's been trending that way for the last sort of couple of years where they're prime targets. And I'm locked on to a very, very silky, sweaty, oily man on the Dolphins wing. I think you are too, and it's Jermaine Sarko, 625k. You were just saying off air the next 3 games for him are some of the best you can get in terms of points conceded from a Supercoach standpoint. We're looking at the Cowboys, the Knights into the Bunnies. Then it takes a bit of a turn after the bye. So maybe it's a short 3-week play, but Jermaine Sarko, mate, highlighted him in your pod article last week, and he went bang for owners with a 132. He's probably where I'm looking. And what about yourself? Before you touch on him, I think we've got to throw in our boy, Mr. COV himself, 634k, Dane Gagai as well.
Yeah, every single week, Dane Gagai has got a mention in the pod article for 6 weeks in a row. And his ownership has not fucking moved one little bit. And I know, we have a couple of hundred people in the Patreon, so I'm not expecting it to go ballistic. But I'm actually surprised people haven't jumped on after they've started to see the BP that he's putting up.
64, 71, 68, 68, 72, 80, 84. For a guy who is not talked about one bit.
For a guy who also is not going to even get a 400k contract from one of the worst teams in the comp as well, mind you. Their best player. Second best player, behind Fletcher Sharp. Yeah, I think he's hard done by there. But from a Supercoach perspective, I just feel like maybe people don't believe in the Knights. I don't think it's that they don't believe in Gagai. They just don't believe in the Knights. And maybe they've stacked too many Knights. Maybe they've got Marju and they held him this whole time. They've got Sharp. Maybe they've still got Ponga for some odd reason. They've got Lucas, I'm assuming, or any of the top teams would. So it's a lot of Knights investment, right? Like you've got to pick your battles, I think, on bad teams. Yeah, I'm with you on Osako. I think that next 3 weeks is the perfect 3-week play coming into a. Then it's that bye, Sharks Cowboys bye. So it's an awkward 18 to 21 really. So like you can probably I'm probably going to jump off in 18, and then obviously you've got a couple of players finishing their buys at round 18 as well. So there's going to be some targets that you can move him to. But I like Osako. Jacob Kiraz this week is on the tip of everyone's tongues as well after that 90 BP, but he's been named at centre, obviously, like you mentioned. Is it just a no-go now? Like 105 break-even, I think it is. Yeah, 105 break-even, 768K. 20% of teams in the top 10% are buying him this week, so they don't care. He comes into a buy after that. Do you just think around 17 is the time to pounce on him?
Yeah, look, you would hope as a non-owner that the sort of BP does diminish at centre compared to the wing. Obviously not getting the kick returns, but he's very much like a Herbie. He'll go looking for work. He'll scoot across the ruck, get a good bunch of tackle breaks. Like I don't think it's the end of the world of him at centre. I just don't expect a 90 BP. Matt, I want to throw you a bit of a curveball for a man who is going to play for 2 clubs in 2 weeks. 556K, Dom Young on the Roosters wing, playing against the Knights this week, then up against the Dolphins next week for the Knights, you would imagine, from all reports. And I think he would slot pretty much straight into that Newcastle side on the right wing there. So any love for Dom Young, or are you looking at a bit more of expensive and a bit longer last name teammate of his?
Yeah, look, I love the Dom Young shout, actually. That's not one I've even thought of. But I don't. Did you own him when he got the -15 last year?
No. It was very fond. Obviously, we all have fond Supercoach memories. I still hold Sifa Talakai near and dear to my heart because I jumped off at the right time all those years ago. Someone like a DWZ is dead to me because I owned him for about a 25 average and didn't own him for about a 90 average. But Dom Young is very neutral to me because I didn't own him that week, but I know that you did, so maybe you're a bit scarred.
I did. I got him the week before and he got 30, and then he got -15. So he got me 15 points in 2 weeks, and he got suspended for like however long as well. Yeah, so that was a fun 2-week play for me. Yeah, look, I get it. Again, Knights question straight away is how many Knights can you have? Yep. But I guess, look, if you're going to pick one, it's probably going to be Dom Young. I mean, James Schiller, he doesn't have any James Schiller about him. So no, I think he probably could get some pretty good ball outside Dane Gagai, who's been ripping and tearing, so they say.
Obviously, the top centre wing, mate, 754K Fletcher Sharp. I just feel like we're now in round 15, and if Fletcher Sharp is not in your side, then probably Fletcher Sharp won't be in your side for the rest of the year. I'm never comfortable fading a guy averaging near enough 80, but I think he's a guy that I'm okay letting go if I don't own.
If I didn't own at 754K, there's no way I'm buying him at that price. And it sounds weird saying that about a guy who's averaging, the best part of bloody 75, 80 for the season. I mean, 76.5 on the season, 119 last week. He's playing fullback again this week, which is just an absolute gold mine in Supercoach. The last time he did that, he got 131 against Penrith. I mean, he's got 300s in 7 weeks, 6 weeks, 300s in 6 weeks. So, I mean, look, the problem becomes the price for me. I think I'd rather spend 100K less and get Greg Marju personally. And there's too many good options at centre wing for us to be playing around and spending up that kind of money on a guy who can also get 30 and 40 like he has in the last month. So, yeah, for me, there's a few different options. One, and you mentioned him, is Mark Nwanga-Nituaze. He's only 13.4% owned. Only 66 people in the top 10% of teams are bringing him in at the moment, which I think is maybe because he's been named at centre. He's got the Jacob Kiraz disease, where this week he's going to have to play one in. And I was looking at his stats, and you can see that his base is pretty much identical at centre. So the 2 games, where is he? So on the games at the start of the year, 57, 86, 46, 71, 72 at centre, and then 71. So like at centre, he's fine. I think he's actually not a bad purchase at centre regardless. It doesn't look like his scores take too much of a hit. The games he's played on the wing, 69, 91, 97, and then a 43 last week. So there's a lot to like about him. And I think when he's on the wing, it's obviously a lot nicer to have because he's going to get the try scoring upside. I don't think he's going to get much of that at centre, but he's a really good ball player too. So there's every chance you're going to get try assists through him at centre. So what are your thoughts on him? Because I don't mind going left field. He's only 13% owned in the top 10%.
Yeah, it's obviously similar to Kiraz. Like, it's not the most ideal thing this week, but it's not the end of the world.
Mhm.
But look, we're talking about expensive options, and that's, absolutely cool. But what about the guys that are a little bit cheaper? We think back to we thought it was a two-trade waste all those weeks ago. It's the Sharks left center who has gone 65, 111, 85, 61, 77, 73, 80, 84, 77, 71, 103 in 80-minute games. Obviously, not all those scores are Moeen Harodi, but he is 391k, and that Sharks left center has been absolutely humming.
I'd be very keen, I think, this week if I didn't have so much money that it felt like I wasn't spending enough. I just 390k though. If you're skint this week and you're looking for a downgrade option potentially for Lehigh or for Iro, I reckon Harodi could be one of the best picks at that price point. Putting up the scores that position has. Some of those scores were on the wing, granted, but in saying that, like, you can go much worse, I think, than Harodi. So I like it. It's so wide open at centre wing this week. I reckon you could advocate for 5 or 6 really good buys this week. Ryan was asking about Holmes, obviously playing Origin this week, so not someone that you consider. But what about for the run home? Are you looking at Val Holmes as a top 5 centre wing?
Yeah, there's no need to sell these guys this week if you don't have to, because there are options that open up. Zach Lomax, Val Holmes, they're probably the two that I'm sort of looking at, and there are guys, on the buy as well that are worth considering. If you're looking at sort of rocks or diamonds players, like a guy like Xavier Coates, if you're looking for just chasing that pure upside and you're pretty happy with the other 17 first team names in your squad. So yeah, like, you don't need to make trades this week. Like, numbers and numbers. Like, what's the difference between Hugo Savala getting 40 and one of these like top tier center wings getting 65? Like, would you take a 25-point deficit to make the more optimal trade next week? I definitely would. So if you're keen on Val, if you're keen on Zach Lomax, then you can definitely wait a week and bring those guys in. So they're probably like all the center wing options. 2RF's probably a little bit more boring. It's your Hamole Olakowatus, it's your Eli Katoas, it's your Keon Kolomatangis. Like, they're the likes that you bring in. Jacob Preston has been named for the Dogs in his return. He's a guy I don't hate going a little bit early on. It's 720k. But the usual names, mate, they're the ones that we're sort of looking at for 2RF. So probably less of a conversation to have there.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm using Lucas at 2RF, and I've had him there for the most part because I just feel like there's so many less trade options at 2RF. I'd rather just lock and load him there until something pops up that I can use his dual for to get him down to center wing. So at the moment, that's the way I'm playing it. But yeah, I agree. There's much less options at 2RF, so I'd probably look to attack center wing, especially this week. There's some pretty good ones standing out. Speaking of center wing, mate, would you still trade in? Karts wants to know, would you still trade in Lawson this week, even after last week's ordinary score?
I think the positive side, not positive, but obviously seeing Christian Tuipulotu go down, and Nathan Lawson still retain his spot despite a pretty, to be fair, dismal game. So it's good to see him traded in. Look, I'm sitting here with 300k in the bank after trades, and that's, I guess, because there's a couple of downgrade options I'm looking at. But if you're needing to find funds, then he's probably the best player, you would imagine.
I think he's still a fine trade, and he's got a -1 break even, like bottom dollar. Looks like he's got a spot there for at least as long as Christian Tuipulotu is going to be out, to be fair. Corey Allen's been named at centre, so you'd naturally think if they were planning on bringing Corey Allen into the team on the wing, maybe they'd try and get him there this week. It's hard to know what the makeup of that squad's going to look like next week. But in saying that, even if, worst case, he drops out, I think really it's not going to hurt you. Like, you've got him for the bye round. He's on the bye next week anyway, so it's not a big deal. You're not going to need him there. And, ideally he stays until round 18 for us. But if not, no big deal.
You also can't count out Heartthrob and cult hero Cody Ramsey making his way back into the side as well. So obviously big smoky watch there. But no, you're investing bottom dollar for Lawson. It's not like a Harodi from back in like round 6 or whatever it was, where you're investing 270 Pretty much bottom dollar at 198, 0 break even. So very, very much an enabler. You get a number this week, will be on the buy in 16 and then sees the season out. So not a guy that you're planning to have in your best 18 come around 27, but for the next couple of weeks, it's not bad if you're at a pinch and you've got to play some people in short weeks.
Yeah, spot on. Edge got the next one. Who would you trade out first, Billy Smith or Campbell Graham to get a gun centre wing? I think it's tough, isn't it? Like, I mean, Billy Smith will play the next 2 majors and the next 2 minis, which is where the appeal for all of the Roosters options are moving forward. They've only got 1 bye left. They got through their awkward 10 and 14 bye. Now they've just got that 17 left, where they're the only team on the bye. So I'd probably argue that maybe the Roosters options start to become the best options because you've got that ultimate availability for the rest of the year. I'm probably holding Billy Smith. I don't know. Maybe it's just sunk cost fallacy all over again where we hold on too long, but we know he's a quality player. I feel like he's got money to make, but Campbell Graham as well. Like, it's a past season's gun that just hasn't fired yet this year. Where's your preference? So which one are you holding on to?
I'm just looking at upside, and Campbell Graham, to be fair to him, he might be the new Mr. COV. He's averaging 43 in the season with a top score of 60. So he's very much condensed between that sort of mid 30s and high 40s. And he's 40k more as well. I think I jump off him before I jump off Billy Smith. 15 plays the Dogs, 16 plays Melbourne, 17 plays the Finns, 18 plays Manly, 19 bye. There's been a sort of showing that he may be in origin contention barring one injury. I know for a fact Billy Smith isn't. I know we can't plan on what ifs and maybes, but I just think with the lesser ceiling, the inferior draw, and the more expensive asset, I'm probably just selling Campbell Graham.
And to be fair, Souths don't have an easy run. Yeah, the availability is okay. Round 18 is their final bye, but they've got the Bulldogs this week. Yes, they've got less players, but they're still, the system is there defensively. Melbourne Storm the week after, as probably without Origin players, or for the most part, most of them with that trip from Perth. Finns have been playing good footy. Manly, that could be a decent matchup, but then they come up against Penrith, Sharks, Broncos straight after that. So it's not an easy run of 7 or 8 games there for the Rabbitohs. So,
but also just look around. Round 18 against Manly, you just said it's their best draw. They're going to be without Trell, and who knows how long Cody Walker's out with this groin. Like, they're probably 2 best attacking flares. So you've just got to probably look at like what they've got around them. And I'd rather just take a gamble on Sam Walker, James Tedesco to do the job over, no disrespect, but Jai Gray and Jamie Humphries.
That's fair. That's not a bad call. Edge has another one for us. Reckon still worthwhile trading Turbo out for Drinky. Manly's draw looks great. I don't think he's at 70%. Other fullback or flex is Teddy and Pappy. And there were a couple of questions in the live. Shining Nova, Turbo this week if you haven't owned him since round 3. And Ryan, any interest in Turbo?
Fuck no. Like, if you've held him, you cannot sell him.
Nah.
Not against the fucking Titans. Like, if you've held him through all this shit, right? If you didn't jump off ship like I did because I'm a weasel, how do you sell him?
You can't. You have to keep him.
Unless you're ranked in like the top 50, right? And you're protecting your rank. If you're ranked, hypothetically, 17,648th, hypothetically, like you can't be trading him out. Like, 1, ultimate vibes, but 2, he's playing the Titans, who just gave up 80 points to Reece Walsh, who hasn't played football in what feels like 6-7 weeks, and they suck, and they're without Tino, and yeah,
I mean, I am probably gonna have an armband on him. I reckon I'm probably just gonna have to VC him. You can't imagine not VCing him, like, and he gets 130. Like, no.
Look, I think we're pretty staunch on not selling him, but what about buying him? 500k Tom Trbojevic against the Gold Coast Titans.
We've been here before, Josh. We've been here. And
we'll be here again next year in round 1 when he's 620k.
Yeah. What's that meme or that GIF? I'll be there. That's the one.
I thought it was the CJ from San Andreas.
Shit, here we go again.
Here we go again. All right.
Yep.
516k Tom Trbojevic. I'm just curious in what world you're buying him. Like, That's what I'm curious on, because like on the surface, if you have Tamale at flex, yeah, I'd do Trebojevic in a heartbeat. But like, I'm not selling a full, like if you're already running 3 fullbacks, you're not selling one to him, are you?
No. Yeah, I mean, look, if you went super pod and it didn't play out, and you've got a fullback that's a shitter at the moment that isn't doing a ton, like let's have a look at the fullbacks, because I mean, I can't imagine anybody not having either a Pappy, a Teddy, Drinky, Turbo seem like the 4 that you'd want. Isaiah Iongi, maybe if you've got Iongi, like Iongi to Turbo makes you 50k. I'd do that this week with Iongi on the bye.
But would you not just do? Would you not? I'd in that instance, I would just do generic center wing down to Lawson, and then Iongi to Drinky. Like I'm trying to think of a world where you would buy Turbo. That would dictate my answer.
I don't know if you're ranked 17,648th, maybe.
No, but like what? I'm all aboard, and Ryan's in the chat, and like Ryan is a Patreon backer, I think.
Only Patreon people can see this, so he's got to be.
Okay, so Ryan is a Patreon backer. Shout out to him. Yeah. Look, I'm all on board with buying Turbo at fullback, but the question is, why are you doing it, and what is facilitating it? I think I would only do it if I have no money, and I'm selling like a center wing who is like in my flex right now. Otherwise, I can't get on board with it. But if you've held him, absolutely, I'm not selling him one bit. But also narratives. We do love narratives, and he's facing a 400k pay cut. Surely he's going to come back and prove he's worth 1.2 million a year for 7 games a season.
Of course he is. And also, the main reason, right, that you probably shouldn't buy him unless you go by those scenarios are that he has the little ice cold emoji in the SuperCoach app, right? Which just means don't go near him, like, because they're all really spot on, those ones. Yeah. So Jaden Campbell has an ice cold. Scott Drinkwater is ice cold. James Tedesco
scoring 100.
Ice cold. Don't go there. Who I don't know who does those emojis, but they need to be fired. Next one, Blake loves bringing us non-SuperCoach questions. Top 3 all-time favorite sportsmen.
Unironically or like ironically?
Whoever you want to say. Top 3 favorite sportsmen of all time.
Okay. That's a good. Okay. Norris Cole, Noah Vonleh, and Kwame Brown. No, I don't know, man. That's a good question. Top 3 favorite sportsmen. Number 1 is probably Benji.
Okay.
I would probably put Benji for 1 myself. Number 2 for me would be until he inevitably requests a trade, LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
Big Illawarra guy, big Charlotte guy. And number 3, specifically 2015/2016 West Ham Dimitri Payet, a reference you would not understand. But for anyone out there that knows ball, I'm a big West Ham guy. So specifically 2015-2016 Dimitri Payet. What about yourself?
Okay. Yeah, cool. No fucking idea who he is, but that's nice.
He's one of those the streets won't forget. Like one season at my club, who was electric. My first year of university, I was up until 3 a.m. every night watching him just like kill it. And then he sucked ever since. 20 or
21 Turbo?
Yeah.
Cool. Like it. Shane Warne, number 1 for me as a young cricketer growing up. He that bold leg spin had to be Shane Warne. Number 2, I think more an appreciation of just how fucking good they were as Michael Jordan. Like when you look at all of the documentaries and everything, I think, he's one of the best athletes of all time back in his day. Obviously players move differently now and they're much more athletic, but I think it's a mindset thing for me, like him and Kobe and just the way they think as well is really fascinating. Number 3, this is tricky on who number 3. It's probably, I was going to say Benji, but I don't reckon it can be Ben. I reckon it's Tiger Woods as someone who follows a bit of golf. Like Tiger Woods is just, no one will ever come close to how fucking good that guy is. So
apart from SC Matrix after 4 beers.
Look, he does get better with each beer as well, to be fair, Matty. So
speaking of freak athletes, big shout out to one of my favorite basketball players of all time, Wilt Chamberlain. Absolute mythical demon.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What a gun. fuck, this could be a whole podcast episode, so we might have to save some of this.
And also specifically Orlando Magic Shaq. Like just random
rookie Shaq.
Yeah, rookie Shaq.
Yep.
And
all right.
Patterson in the chat, he gets it. Pyatt free kicks. For anyone out there that doesn't follow soccer, jump on YouTube. Dimitri Pyatt free kick versus QPR 2016. Stuff like the rims.
I'm going to have to.
Like one of those ones where he hits it and it goes about 6 meters above the crossbar and then just
drops.
Dips ridiculously.
Yeah, nice. Love that. All right, Lauren's got the next one. Downgrade Arthurs to Lawson and then can go Iongi to Pappenhausen or Iongi to Kiraz via the Sharp Jewel. What's the better trade? So we're looking at Kiraz versus Pappy. I mean, Pappy's on a bye this week. So
yeah, I mean,
don't love that.
Is it a hot take to say that I also just prefer Kiraz as long term?
Not really. I mean, he just put up fucking 83 points in BP. Like in a game where I felt like watching it, I felt like he was in everything. And you look at his score, he deserved more, to be fair. Like, fuck, he was good.
Yeah, like it's not even the score. Like I just watched it and like every offload, every run he was looking for an offload. And there was a play when I think it was Junior Barlow like wrapped his arm up and Kiraz was still like just nearly elbowing him in the jaw to try and get his arm free. And I was like, fuck. He scored like 59 points pre-updates. Oh, I think I missed the last play. Apparently got a try contribution. He had like 65 points at full time. With about 12 offloads. I knew he was going to update him to a ridiculous amount. And he hasn't missed a beat. And I'm really annoyed that I sold because if I knew he was going to be back, what was it, within like 3 weeks, I would have held. But yeah, the prognosis was a lot longer than that. So, hey, you win some, 17. More.
Yeah, they said around 17. He comes back around 14. So, close. Just sadly not close enough. Edge with the next one. Would you wait 2 weeks on Kiraz since he's playing centre and has a bye? Yeah, I think the answer is yes.
Like it depends. Like if you got the cover, no, I just buy him this week. But if you're struggling for numbers, then yeah, I would wait.
He's definitely a key. I think he's a top 5 centre wing comfortably. He's a guy that you're going to want to eat this week or round 17. Just you have to make a choice as to when, not if. So I'm going to wait purely because I've got too many numbers this week. I just feel like it's a bit of a waste, and round 16 is a bit tricky for me. So I'm waiting personally for that reason. But look, if you've got fucking nearly a full squad in 16 and you're not worried too much, you don't have any dragons or whatever, like, yeah, you can pull the trigger.
I think we're also getting to that stage now where we probably need to just start being a little bit careful with trades. Like ideally, I'd love to have 10 from 20. Yeah, 10 from 20, and I've got 16. So it basically gives me maybe 4 trades to get some buy numbers and 2 trades for injury. Look, my season's a fucking train wreck, so I'm just talking theory here. But ideally, having like 10 for 7 weeks would be great. And if you've got a boost still, 1, why? 2, hold it until 27 if you're in contention. And if you're a head-to-head player, definitely hold it for 26.
Yeah, agree with that. Next one from James. Thoughts on Tamale and Toya to Garrick and Marky Mark or Osako? I mean, we've mentioned both of those guys. So what are your thoughts on Garrick if you don't own him by now? Fuck, he's cheap.
Yeah. I mean, I bought him a couple weeks ago, so he's been fine. He's 588. Same thing. Buy next week, buy 19. So you're getting 15, 17, 18. And those games are it doesn't get really much better, does it? Titans, Tigers, Souths, 2 of those at 4 Pines. And then it gets tricky. You've got a buy 19 Melbourne Dogs, Roosters are the next 3 after that. So it's very similar to Osako, isn't it? You just instead of getting 3 straight weeks, you're getting 3 with a buy in between. I mean, 588 for Ruben Garrick with Cherry Evans. I think the fact that Cherry Evans has been dropped is huge.
Yeah,
because you would expect a lot more ball to be going right side. Without Cherry Evans, you'd probably see it more go left for Turbo. So having DCE being dropped is massive for him, Hamole, and Jason Saab as well.
Yeah, as much as I've been trying to fade Hamole, I felt really good about it until DCE got dropped, and now I'm like, oh, this might be a bit of a harder watch than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all right. Rio's got a couple back-to-back. Thoughts on Isaiah Katoa as a buy? We actually spoke about this before we went online. Would be selling Cleary, coming up against the Cows who are bad against halfbacks. You're not overly keen. Maybe I'm a little bit more interested. But again, it's hypothetical.
Like, obviously, Cleary is Cleary, right? Like, Cleary is the gold standard. And we watch him every week do nothing and get 80, 90 points with like one try contribution and one forced dropout. Like Isaiah Katoa has been playing some of the best football I've seen from a halfback and has not had to score over 100 this year. And that includes having 5 try assists. That is entering
99.
That is entering 2023 levels of Scott Drinkwater fraudness. I remember a game. Oh, also Jeremiah Nanai. Jeremiah Nanai scored 3 tries, played 80 minutes, and didn't score 100. That's its all time. But like, you're paying 612 for him, Brano, and these are the scores: 60, 73, 60, 63, 57, 99 last week against the Dragons. I feel like if we're paying 612, we probably just want that slight bit of 120, 130 upside. I'm not saying like I expect that, but for
I get you.
What I would say has been the second best player of the comp behind Metcalf to not have 100 is tough to swallow at 612k.
It's also, I guess, how you play the game too, right? Like we look for upside. We look for 100, 110, 120 plus for the most part. Isaiah Katoa isn't really going to give you that, but he is going to give you 55 to 80 pretty much every week locked in. So it just depends how you want to play it. Like if you've got plenty of other high upside picks at center wing and you want someone a bit safer, Isaiah Katoa is great. If you want to ride the wave of somebody who will get you 130 or 30, get DCE at 150k cheaper. That's probably the way I look at it.
I do like the floor as well. Looking back in round 11 against the Warriors, no tries, no try assists, 63 points, which is quite nice. But then, you look at like games against Melbourne where he had 5 try assists, 3 try assists against the Dragons to not have a 100-point game is not concerning, but it's not ideal. And the thing with Isaiah Katoa is he's only ever going up by 12s. It's never really 20s. Because there's no real line break assists. It's a lot off kicks and then obviously not goal kicking as well. So, like the draw's really, really good. That's why we're looking at Kurt Donahue and Jermaine Asako. But, look, I'm not going to talk you out of it, of course, but I just feel like you want to chase some ups, like because you're selling Cleary to eventually buy him back in 19 or 20. Like that's probably the end goal. Do you really want to be doing it? Like, do you really want to be bombing 2 trades? I'd rather waste 2 trades on a DCE who maybe gets me a 30, right? It whiffs, than wasting 2 trades on a Katoa who might get me a 70. But we've seen DCE go, 130. I believe this season. I would have to check, but I'm positive he's gone pretty big in a couple of weeks with a much lower floor.
And maybe it's they're both pretty short-term plays because you're getting Cleary back in 19, right? And both of them have nice draws. So I guess either way you go, I think it's good. It just depends how you want to play the game. Do you want to ride the highs and the lows? Do you want the big score, the capability of the big score? Then it's DCE. And you want to save a bit of cash? Or do you want someone who's going to be solid? He makes 20-odd tackles a game, Katoa. So, like, the floor's good. He's involved. He's on a good team that scores points. Can't really argue it.
Is there a narrative around Katoa, though? Because there's a big one around DCE. Like, been dropped, like point to prove.
Yep. And DCE is due as well, which is really important to take into consideration.
Katoa
isn't due.
No. He's too due. If anything, he would revert the anti due. But like we're not saying DC is a slam dunk, but he's got 1 score below 30 this year, which was an 11 against the Sharks at 4 Pines. But apart from that, it's been like 35, 65, 46, 68, 72, 65. Like these are similar numbers to what Katoa's putting up. So I just think now that 11's out of DC's rolling average, he's dropped 185k this year. He's 461. I'd probably rather him over Katoa if I was looking at a clear replacement.
150k as well in your pocket. You can do some good things with that in other positions. So, probably go DCE, but both are good. Garrick versus Olakawatu versus Kiraz is the next question from Rio, which I think we've touched on a little bit on all of them. Rank them 1 to 3, I guess, is the best way to answer this question. It's probably got to be...
Probably the opposite way of what he's asked.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Garrick seems to be the guy that if you want to fade a center wing, like what we would consider to be a gun center wing, I think it's Garrick. Just with the emergence of Nwanga Nitawaze, looking at how good Azarko's been, Herbie Farnworth, Fletcher Sharp, like Dylan Lucas, if you've got him there. There's so many good options. People are looking also at Zach Lomax, Brian To'o for the run home. Like you can anti-pod Garrick. I think, out of those three. With Olakau'atu back, with DCE, I just feel like Olakau'atu benefits a little bit more than Garrick does, just being on his hip. So, yeah, and Kiraz is Kiraz. He's a gun. So I'd probably agree with you on that. Chevin's got the next one. With Sandon Smith on the bench with the return of Walker, is it time to sell or is it worth holding for the buy round numbers?
If you can, I was thinking about this earlier, maybe wait until game day. I believe, if my memory doesn't mistake me, we did see Zach Docker-Clay benched in 12 on game day. I would have to confirm, but I believe Celestia for Getty maybe came on and played 9. Just checking that game now.
No, it was Ben Oyulu,
yes,
whatever his name is. So he's been named at 9 again this week to start.
So he's been named over Docker-Clay. Shows you how much attention I've paid this week. That probably changes things a little bit. Look, I'm okay with selling Sandon Smith. I think when we were buy planning, like obviously you and I talk every day, I never really counted Sandon and Hugo Savala. It was only really the one of them, and I think
package deal.
You can look at it two ways. Like obviously the hooker being benched is not great because it was a much better cover for Jules than a 2RF and what Savala was. But Sandon Smith, I feel like he could have been a bit of a plotter by season's end. Like he's putting up 50s, not enough to trade him out, but not enough to play him every week. So maybe him being dropped is the blessing. He's also the more expensive of the two. I'd be looking at selling. And then I guess the question is to who? And there's a man from the Finns that you're looking at, boy, wheels up Donga, Kurt Donahue.
Yeah, I think he's been named at 13. Sadly, Max Plath is looking like it's gonna be the end of the season for him. We'll know more soon, but I mean, you look at Donahue's starting games in the number 9. He's gone 31, 56, 71, 53. So like that 3-round average, basing between 45 and 54 points. And this is at hooker. It's a different position, but it's still in the middle of the field. This guy just tackles for fun. I like the play. He's super cheap. 404,000 with an 11 break even as well. So
this reeks of Chris Randall was fine. Let's run it back.
Yeah, that's you know what? Chris Randall's still got 2 weeks of 40s.
That's what I mean. Like you went right last week, so we can run it back with another generic white guy.
I don't know whether I'll claim it as right. It was pretty boring and poor, but Donahue could go 50 plus at lock, I reckon, just with the way that the Finns run as well. No Gilbert, no Plath.
Also, if you've got the money, like, what are you doing at hooker anyway? Like, really?
Honestly, you're not paying $600K for a fucking hooker this year. No way.
Unless it's Cam McInnes, and then it's like he's on the buy next week, and it's like, well, what's the point? There's no upside in buying him. Like, at least if there was like a hooker that was like had the upside, like a Harry Grant, I can't even say him. He had 2 tries, 680 last week, the fraud. So like, there's no hooker that I'm loving life on. Like even Appy, I don't have like a huge amount of confidence on, considering he's on the buy this week, and it's like, are you paying $540 for Jazz Tavanga at hooker?
Yeah, no. Oh, wait until Taylor May gets his debut and plays left center, and Adam Dewey gets dropped back to the 14 or something like that, and then Appy takes the goal kicking back, and that's when we buy Appy. That's when we get him. Harry with the next one. Who do you prefer out of Pappy or Drinky? We've kind of touched on this, I guess, a little bit. Currently has Turbo and Teddy, so trying to make a decision on who he wants for the run home. You have Pappy and don't have Drinky, and you've toyed with bringing Drinky in to pair him with Pappy. Do you still prefer Pappy for the run home, or do you reckon it's Drinky now?
No, I'm on Drinky. As much as it pains me to say, I just think everything just runs through them. I don't care how bad the Cowboys are. He just seems to score points for fun. If there was negative points for being out of position on every 5th tackle, he may average 12 points a game, but so it is not to be. I just think, look, who's going to score 20? It's Drinky, but I think those 20s are now becoming far and few between. Whereas Pappy has the goal kicking to give him the floor, but he's also competing with a Dalian medalist, one of the best 6s in the modern era, and also Harry Grant, 4 touches in that red zone. So it's, look, when Pappy does, annihilate the Tigers and goes 160, then, great for owners. But when he has juicy matchups and he gets 55, 60, it's a bit of a frustration. So for me, it's probably just Drinky.
I think also you probably speak from the pain of an owner because you watch it and you think Pappy should score 100 every week with the amount of touches and the amount of good ball that he gets and the opportunity that he gets. And then he finishes, he's on like 65 at halftime and finishes on 73. Like that is frustrating. But Drinky's a very similar player. I think we said 2 weeks ago, Drinky and Pappy are the same in a way. So it's kind of like, Drinky's dropped in price now. I think you're going to get that shitty score out of his rolling average. Correct me if I'm wrong. It should be gone now. So I think you could pick him up now pretty comfortably and know that you're not going to lose a heap of cash. He's probably bottomed out or got close to it. So I
think he's going to 70 break even this week, which is probably like the highest it'll be for a little bit, barring a stinker score.
And Clifford's back this week, which we know he loves. He's going to get 1 million touches without Dearden there in that team. So yeah, wheels up, Drinky. Bane Wennett back again with a centre wing pod, brings one every week. And to be fair, he does all right with these. He's on Avarillo this week. And this is someone legit that until he hopped in my inbox at like 12 o'clock today going, hey, what do you think of Avarillo? I'm like, what? Haven't even looked at him. I went and had a look at his scores and they've been okay. Like they actually haven't been that bad. I just don't know whether they're good enough for me to go, I would rather to get Avarillo than get 560K, I think it is, than someone like Asako who can do what he did last week.
Yeah, I mean, sure. He's 540K, which is probably like 140K more than what I'd want to spend. He has made 14K this season. So it sort of just shows you where he's at.
Ups and downs.
And I think one of the worst positions to buy in Super... Like I understand he's playing fullback this week, if I'm not mistaken.
He is, yeah.
One of the worst positions you can invest in is weak side center. Weak side wing, you're like, oh, okay. Strong side center, we've seen it with Herbie, we've seen it with Eero. But weak side center is just not a great place to be. We've seen one score this year. Before the Finns went on this like rampage of attack, one score above 70 all year. Does have a pretty good floor, like no scores worse than 33. Look, if you're buying into the Finns narrative of that it's going to pile on points against a bunch of bottom feeders in the Cowboys, Knights, and Souths, and yeah, Finns up, but I love a narrative. I'm not sure I can spin that one.
Give us time. We'll come up with something. Wouldn't you? Yeah, it's got to be a Sarko for me. Yeah, I'd rather pay the extra 100K and get a Sarko in. Sarko's got like a negative break even this week too. So look, worst case, you're buying a Sarko for a 3-week play and you're basically selling him for like 150K profit in that time too.
Would you rather? How much is he? Hang on, let me quickly look. He is 590. All right. Would you rather fill up the Shem God Sammy or Jake Avarillo?
I'd rather Sammy. I've been looking at him for about a month. The only reason I didn't get a little silly this week and want to get him in my center wing, because it's silly Sammy, is because he's been named at center again with Fitzgibbon on outside him. If
you're buying Philip Sami, you probably need to invest in some kind of non-lethal hitman to just kneecap Alan Fitzgibbon.
Yeah. Well, what's Jojo Fafita back?
Good question. All right.
That's when he'll be back from the wing.
Would you rather, how much is it? 585K, Queenslander, Ronaldo Mulatalo, or Avarillo?
Mulatalo?
Yeah.
Just because I know that he can get me the big score. I don't. Avarillo, great when he played fullback. What did he get? 70, 80 something. That's great, but I want 120, and Ronnie can get me that. And he'll get me 20 as well, but I want the 120. I'll take the 70 average with a 20 and a 120 rotation. Thanks.
Mate, I don't know why I bought him. There's no more frustrating player. I just have the most frustrating team to watch. I've got a couple of real rocks and diamonds. I've got Reece Walsh, the king, the captain of Rocks or Diamonds. Mm-hmm. I've got Jaden Campbell now somehow. I've got Ramian. I've got Mulatalo. Just a bunch of guys, just a bunch of lads. I want to bring up a question whilst I was looking at my team. There was a comment here from the Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. Hi, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. What about selling the games of best 13? Tino Fa'asul Mala'awi. Mm-hmm. Sternum issue. Probably won't back up. I'd be shocked if he does. Yep. And just hasn't been great backing up.
I can get around it for sure. I think a lot of people are probably looking at selling Cleary this week. Who would you prioritise? Would you sell Cleary this week, playing one in the next 4, or would you sell Tino? Because it might even be the same thing.
Yeah, so Tino playing Manly at Seabus, and then obviously would play Parramatta in round 16, Cowboys in round 17. But it's this Sternum, isn't it? Like, if we come out and see him re-aggravate it on Wednesday, I think the answer's pretty cut and dry. I think it's a really nice segue to like a Hamole. I know he's not playing next week, but really Tino probably wasn't either. Or you go one of these like great centre wings that we've talked on, like a Tino to an Asako or someone like that. So yeah, we're in a world there. But if you're stuck with Tino at front row forward, does that become more of a conversation?
Maybe.
Because front row forward is not like loaded. You could probably go like a Tino to a Couchman, but
I've already got him. Already got the great lounge. So can't get him. But look, I can get around the Tino sell. For 100%, I can get around the Tino sell. And also physio.
Sorry, do you just wait and buy PPM God Aaron Clark next week?
Yeah, look, honestly, if he was playing this week, I'd be buying Aaron Clark this week, and I'd just rip the Band-Aid off and just chuck him there and know that I'm going to get 75 a week.
Pay $700K for a guy that we both looked at 3:30 and decided not to jump on.
Don't even care. Honestly, like, it's the reason I haven't bought him is exactly that reason too.
The opposite of something cost fallacy.
100%. But yeah, I think Tino might be a conversation next week.
Be a definite conversation either this week or next week.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Where are we up to? Silly Blater. Could you rank these pods? I've got some questions for you, Billy Slater, about your origin selection too. So you just stay here after the show. Could you rank these pods for me? Murray Talangi, Philip Sammy, and Daniel Tupou. Talangi, do you reckon Talangi comes into the origin team? I reckon he does.
Well, I mean, so Cobbo can't even make his club team, so maybe. Who's being dropped for him?
That's the question you got. Maybe
Bob T's not being dropped.
Val?
Well, that'd be a stance, wouldn't it? I can see it.
There's been rumour floating around that Val is on his last legs. Like if Queensland, let's say for instance, Queensland lose game 2, right? Which looking at the lineup, they should. If they're going to use a scapegoat somehow, and I reckon it's going to be Val. I don't think it can be anybody else in the back line. What are you going to do? You're going to drop Hammer?
Wheels up, Jack Howarth. Move Hammer to the wing.
Fuck. Yeah. All right.
Jackson Purdue, get him in.
Yeah, may as well.
I know
Rob
that,
Toyer, Jackson Purdue, get all the SuperCoach cheapies into the origin.
I know that he's a Queenslander but doesn't want to play for him, but just get Dream Buller in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like Muzz is nearly $700K.
Yeah, that's actually a bit too expensive. I wouldn't pay that. Phillips Army, love it. But Daniel Tupou with Sam Walker back?
Maybe.
Talk dirty to me.
Bit of hard bridge action. I've missed it. It's been too long since I've seen that.
Harry asked the question about Tupou. So he said, how do you feel about him? I know you were high on him a couple of weeks back. Feel like with Walker back, it might unlock Tupou a little bit more through his kicking game. Because Tupou hasn't really been targeted in the air. They've been going to Marky Mark's side.
Oh, mate, can you imagine this week? It's just Marky Mark and Dom Young just getting high bombers for them all day.
What a time! I can get around Tupou. I mean,
this is your flaw because obviously he was your like pod of the week like a month ago. He's 583, 48 break even up against defensive stalwart James Schiller. He has been relatively consistent. The last time he went under 50 was all the way back in round 6 against the Broncos. It does have the ceiling. Went 119 against the Panthers, but has gone 86, 66, 60, 52, 85, 61 with a pretty good draw, all being the Knights, the Cowboys, a bye, the Tigers, the Dragons, mate. So talk to me on Danny Terps.
I guess the matchup this week, right? We're talking Newcastle. I think James Schiller's been named on the wing and Fletcher Hunt at centre, which is weird as. I think that's going to be a late switch, or they just won't switch and they'll just play in the position.
I mean, did we see Schiller at the centres last week?
Yeah, we did, but then he fucking played out of his skin.
Yeah, on the wing in the second half.
Yeah, I guess. Are you really going to put Fletcher Hunt at centre though?
I don't know. What's old Kyle McCarthy done wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, Hunt apparently is like the next big thing. He's the next Fletcher Sharp. Must be something to do with Fletcher's. But
Is
he's
it
been
because he
carving
doesn't
up
trade a
pup.
trial deal? They're all of a sudden they're like, oh, he's actually like not awful.
Mm.
Like, I understand that Dylan Lucas is like one of the best edges in the comp, but fuck me, surely he's a better center than some of the shit they're running out.
Sadly, he is, but we won't tell him that because that will hurt our Supercoach side. So we don't.
Like,
don't
would
want to
you
know
rather
that.
Tom Cunt on an edge and Dylan Lucas in the centers, or Lucas
100%.
on the edge with like fucking Fletcher Hunt?
Mate, the Knights lineup this week is a rabble. They've named Phoenix Crossland in the 13, Thomas Cant on the bench, and then they've got Jaden Brayley starting. So for me, I don't get
Adam
it.
O'Brien said that we don't know football.
Yeah, that's right. I was probably booing him from my lounge, and I'm not even a Knights supporter, so that's a fair comment.
Yeah.
Daniel Tupou, then Philip Sami, then Murray Talangi. If I had to rate these three to answer your question,
yeah, it's probably the same.
I like Tupou.
680k for Murray Talangi.
I think they're going to pepper Tupou and attack Schiller if he's on that side for sure. Ryan's asking about Sandon Smith and Grant. So he's got Sandon and Grant owner. Now that Sandon's benched, what movements do we have at hooker if the number allows? Nuffet and ride Grant to the end? Or do you go with the GOAT, Kurt Donahue?
Start planning for Bundy Mixer. That's rough.
You just hold Grant, but I reckon you could do Sandon to Donahue to cover a little bit.
Can't believe we've been on a run. We've been on a run of Morgan Smithies into Bear Cora into Randall.
Chris Randall.
Donahue.
Yep.
Nice.
I don't want to know what the next one is because it's getting worse and worse each week. It's going to be fun.
Saliva Havili next week as a bye, boys, or
could be. Fuck, he's going to get some minutes this week. Have you seen the South bench?
Yeah,
he is. There's no way he's not playing 80. Poor bloke. Hooker sucks. So, like, if you got Grant, sure. I think you can nuff if you've got Grant and just cop the fact that you're going to get an AE when Grant doesn't back up.
What the fuck are we doing next year when Cam McInnes loses hooker duel?
Yeah, I'm sure. But we'll have Kurt Donahue, so it's fine. I don't know, to be honest. Go back to Blake Brayley, who will average 47.
Let me have, and this is live uncut. Shows you how little I've actually looked at team this week. I am thinking of a Dolphins hooker, but I would have to go look at the bench makeup really quickly.
Are you talking about Ray Stone?
No. I was talking about Mr. Leg Laceration himself in JMK, but it feels like his minutes have been a little bit up and down. Look, I think one of JMK or Donahue is playing big minutes. I just don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah, what's Marshall King? He's only 506k, 92 break even.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might be the guy next year. He's been really disrupted with injuries this year.
He always is, though.
We're planning for next year already.
Mate, if you look at our rank, no one will blame us. Hooker's tricky.
Just a lowly head-to-head guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's us. Can't wait for round 26. Lewis is asking, come second in the Insight Cup this week. No squeeze pack for me. Very close. Fucking good week. I think you got 1,510 or something like that. Very good week. My question is similar to Ryan's, except I have Plath and Sandon. Enough Plath this week and then go with Sandon to Grant next week. Fuck, 2 trades at hooker really just makes my guts turn. I don't know.
And Sandon. Well, that's gross.
Yeah, that's even worse than having Grant. And
I think you sell Sandon before you sell Plath.
Yeah, well, Sandon's going to lose cash. Plath won't. So, yeah, I agree. I'd probably I don't hate it if you want to sell Sandon this week.
Yeah, I'd do that. The question is to who. And there's literally hookers not hot at all.
Nah, honestly, if you want, just get Cam McInnes then. If you don't like hooker and you just want a bloke who's going to play 60 minutes in the middle. The
problem is
you don't have a hooker then next week. That's an issue.
Next week. And even if you've got Grant, you've probably Grant's probably not backing up next week either. So it's just
next week is going to be tough. People are underestimating how hard next week is going to be with no one backing up from this fucking Perth game.
Wheels up,
Donahue season. I'm going to change the thumbnail to Kurt Donahue for this.
No, that can be tomorrow. That can be the headline. The headline.
Actually, no. Let's do it. I'll put it on tomorrow's thumbnail. That'll be
made event. Fuck it.
Love it. There was a question here that we've from Chase that we'll answer. Lads Lake question, but do I trade Cleary to Jaden Campbell despite the break even? Thoughts on Campbell? We actually haven't spoken about him tonight.
Yeah,
really at
in
all.
my team. I didn't actually pay much attention to the break even. No, so let me quickly look. What is it? 99. You could probably get that against Manly.
I don't mind him as a VC option against Manly, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone.
The problem is you've got to go against Turbo to do that. If you don't have Turbo, it's fine.
Yeah. Look, yeah, I think for keepers, I don't really care. Like, I was very happy to pay 180 break even for Drinkwater last week. Because it's just a number at the end of the day. Like, yeah, you can get them cheaper, but what happens next week when Tina does an ACL, Payne Haas has a Cat 1, and, you know, I don't know, some other Origin player is like ruled out for 4 weeks, then you have to make trades there. It's like, oh, well, I miss Campbell. Like, if you can get him now, I'm always a big advocate for like just making the trade on a keeper when you can. It's like people with Keon, you know what I mean? Like, people didn't buy Keon a couple of weeks ago because like, oh, I'll get him next week, and then something happened, and then I'll get him this week, and then Tamale went down, Lehigh went down, and now they're like, oh, he's 700k, I can't pay that. So I'm a big fan of just, if you can do it now, do it.
Yeah.
And it's not like the break even's massive. It's 99. Like,
no, and I mean, like, playing Manly, Para, Cowboys. And remember, the Cowboys are conceding the most points to halfbacks in the comp, right? Eels are definitely going to concede some points. Manly are no defensive fortress at all. 2 of those 3 are at Seabus. Wheels up, JC, I reckon. I'd pull the trigger on that. But that wraps us up. That's all the questions. Just about on an hour. Had some good questions, good conversation tonight, actually. We'll probably run out of things to talk about tomorrow. Maybe Maddie can do the notes for once this week.
I'm sick tomorrow if Maddie's on the road.
It'll be a 12-minute show, but it'll be the best 12 minutes you've ever seen.
It would be. Sure. It would be. So in the preseason, I did comparing Supercoach positions to Arnott shapes. I think Maddie would just compare them to just what kind of lager he's got in the fridge.
Which would probably be a 90-minute episode. Really.
It'd be a standalone.
It would be good. I'd enjoy that. But no, we'll be back, guys, tomorrow. Thanks for getting involved. Thanks for jumping in. If you're watching this on delay and you're not a subscriber and you want to get your questions answered every week, the link to become a member is in the description of the video below. So get involved. You get access to the WhatsApp as well as all of our buy, hold, sell, captains, pod watch, and all the other articles that we do every single week. So check it out. Otherwise, we'll be live tomorrow around 8:30 as we normally are to preview round 15, second major buy. We'll see you then.